Um, Obviously at this juncture, and especially the way things been going, it's always good to get a win. And our goal right now is to continue fighting to get better and put ourselves in position to be playing our best basketball when it really, really, really matters. And so we're well aware that we dug ourselves a hole. We understand that, and we just have to continue fighting. And I thought the first quarter we came out and we looked really good. We had a lot of energy, and that's something that we've been striving for. Is just the energy, and them feeding off of their energy. And I thought we kind of put it on cruise control the rest of the game. Give Texas A&M credit; they really got into us, and they never quit. Joni does a fantastic job. She's one of the best coaches in this league, one of the most respected coaches in this league, and her kids, play extremely hard, throughout. And we knew they were going to come in, with a lot of confidence off of their win against Alabama. So, all in all, it is a win. We got a lot of tape to watch. Very proud of this one right here. Congratulations. I actually talked to Georgia for a long time today and never came up that you were about to break her record, but I'll call her again tonight and tell her. But I thought Tony and I were as connected tonight as we have been all year, and that's something that we've been talking about, and I'm very proud of her and her efforts to do that. It's not just her coming in here and say, hey, can we work on a jump shot? Can we work on this or that? She's working on all the aspects of being a great point guard.
Questions? We'll start with Phoenix.
Coach, I just wanted to ask about the change to the starting lineup.
Yeah.
Mainly, what was the main factors, but also wanted to ask specifically, like how much of it was, okay, we want to give Jordan a chance to get a feel for the game before checking in?
It was not a demotion, by no means. It was not a demotion, and I made sure she understood that. I think the last time I was in here, I talked about trying to get her comfortable, trying to get everybody comfortable. And we felt like, especially after the Vandy game and then the Texas game, she just didn't look comfortable, especially in the beginning, and then it kind of set the tone for her. So we just thought, hey, let's let her first action be at the 4 spot, and so that she can kind of get some touches. She got off to a great start. So she got an and 1 right away because she's around basket. She did a float out. She hit a 3. She missed some layups tonight that she normally makes, but all in all, her energy was really good. And I had to make sure I talked to her about that situation because her attitude has been tremendous even through the struggle. She's been playing hard. She's been trying to figure it out. Has not dropped her head. Has not moped at all. And that's why I wanted to make sure that she understood it was not a demotion. And she took it extremely well. Came in, gave her some really good energy, and I thought she had one of her better games in a long time.
AJ.
Tony, first off, congrats on the new record, 218. That's no small thing. So, how's it feel? You're in the blue and white, and you just etched your name in Kentucky history.
This is a real experience. Obviously thanking my teammates because they got to make shots for me to get that. But it just feels great to leave my mark here. We know I'm only gonna be here 1 year.
Kenny, you spoke on Georgia and now Tony. Can you just talk about how much easier it makes to have that kind of bond with the point guard out on the court as a coach? How much that helps you now?
Yeah, it's something that I learned. I've had some great point guards, and that's the position that I coach. I love to go down there with the post and teach Clara some stuff, but I've never made a post move in my life. So everything that's like something that you've seen. Everything that they do, I've done it. All right, so when I get out there with her, when I show her some stuff, it's from experience. And so teaching them just the little nuances of the game to make them better, that's a thrill for me. And just as important, the importance of being on the same page. You can never overestimate that, because when she's thinking like I'm thinking and vice versa, and we're having conversations about what we want to run and just understanding what to do, it just makes the game a lot easier, a whole lot easier. And we've been very fortunate, I've been very fortunate to have point guards like that, and we wanted her. As soon as she hit the portal, she was the one that I wanted. The way I felt like we could make that connection, and I'm extremely proud of her. You guys know, it's a new age. It is a new age of athletics where, a kid like she and I are going to spend probably 9 months together. Not even a year, 9 months together. And the willingness that she has to get better, and I'm not going to say she's surrendered herself to me, but I'm sure there's things that she would love to combat, but we don't have time to argue, And so she's done the best part of not shying away from the moment. She might think that I'm pissed at her, and she's still gonna call me and say, hey, can we watch film today? Because we don't have time to waste, and I credit her for that, because it's not an easy situation, especially in this position with a point guard coach, to come in and try to get this thing, get on the same page in less than a year.
John.
Tony, I see you smiling, I see you nodding when Coach is talking. I want to get your perspective from that. When he says he's connected with his point guard, what does that mean to you?
I mean, like you said, it definitely makes it easier when we're on the same page. I mean, I know he's thinking, he knows what I'm thinking. It makes the game flow a lot better. It makes my teammates feel more comfortable, and it just makes us all on the same page. And I feel like we were definitely on the same page tonight. But as far as the season, I mean, every game I feel like we got closer and closer, and that's just what I wanted in a coach, and I'm glad I came here.
Like big bonding is not just the basketball part, you know. I send her, what is it, dad reels? Yeah, you know, that's a connection, you know, and it if nothing else, lets her know I'm thinking about her, you know, and then she responds, okay, she's thinking about me. All right, we're talking, you know, and we can connect in certain different ways, and it's just, you know, that's a part of it, and she's been extremely receptive to it. You know, she'll even laugh at my little dad jokes, you know, so that's a big part of it. She doesn't shy away from anything. I can get after her, but she knows where it's coming from, a place of support, of love, and then we just move on. And I've been extremely impressed with her and the way that she's been able to do that, because it's not an easy situation that she's in.
Dr. Drew.
This is kind of just for both of you. You talked about how the new transfer portal is going to be kind of like speed dating, where you're going to have people coming in, coming out, and going. How hard is that to build that bond in initially, and how do you focus that? And then for Tony, how did that work out for you coming here so fast and being able to build that bond? How did that kind of come together?
Yeah, you have to put ego aside, and you know, everything that she's learned. She had good coaching, you know, for 3 years. We nailed it our game the other night, her head coach, and you know, Nell and I talked about it, and she had to, and I do not, I'm not using this term lightly. She had to surrender, right? Because we didn't have time, you know. Now, we talk, and she tells me what she wants. We don't have time to argue, you know. And throughout the process, you know, I told her how it was going to be. I told her what Georgia and I did, and that is something huge, because I can say Georgia's name 20 times, and whether she feels it or not, she never shows it. And so that is kind of like a blueprint, and we've been able to build off of it with her twist, you know, with her twist and what she does well. And she's taking that opportunity because we have bonded and we are talking, and we spend a lot of time together. And she's taken it and put her twist on it, and it's a wonderful twist. You know, it's a wonderful twist, and that's why, I mean, you know, Georgia, who is my heart, did this in what, 31 games? And how many games have we played?
26.
20, she did it in 26. And so she's having a tremendous year, and the things that she's doing, I think that we've elevated it, but because she's been very receptive to whatever it is that we needed her to do.
Go ahead, John, and then Sierra and Keith.
Yeah, Kenny, I'm hoping you can kind of explain this to me. Texas A&M, like a lot of SEC teams, have this reputation of coming in, punching you in the mouth, being big and physical, and yet a lot of these games I look and like you out-rebound them by 20. And where is your team in terms of the physicality aspect right now?
We don't initiate it, but we can take it and play through it. And I had a post press conference at Texas the other day, and I talked about physicality. I'll talk about physicality in here, but we don't shy from it. All right, we play through it, and I think we played 11 or 12 SEC games, and we've out-rebounded our opponents. I think 8 of them. All right, so you don't do that if you're soft. So we're not soft. You know, we choose to play a different way. You know, but if somebody wants to play that way, we can get down. You know, and Clara is as tough as anyone. Tiani is as tough as anyone. You throw Jordan in the mix. You have Amelia, who has her length, and we can come up, you know, with the physicality that we need to be able to play. And so that's what I don't want anybody to think that, you know, if I talk about physicality, it's because we're soft. We're not soft. You know, we're not soft. We can play through the physicality, and you don't out-rebound your opponents like this if you're soft. And so, you know, we choose to play a different way, but we can adjust, and I think that's what's gonna help us, and when I talk about getting to that point where we're playing our best basketball, if you can out-rebound Texas at Texas, you can play with anybody in the country. And that's what we are, you know, we've shifted our focus a little bit, obviously with Tiani's absence and, you know, us digging ourselves a hole, you know, those short-term goals of maybe being an SEC regular season champion, that they are out of reach. But the long term and what we're trying to do is get better and better and better every day, because we feel like that we can play with anybody. If we get in a situation and we have favorable matchups, we can have a nice little run here to finish this thing out.
Sierra Connor.
Kind of going off the physicality, Tony, you've taken some hits throughout the season. Clara took a really tough hit tonight. From a player's perspective, talk about just playing through all of those tough moments.
I mean, you said it, you just gotta play through it. I mean, they're not gonna call everything, it's a tough job, but we just gotta play through it and know that this is a physical game, this is a physical league, and don't let your emotions get into it, just keep going.
What did I tell you what did I tell you about the physicality when somebody's beating you up?
Well, you said a couple of them.
Oh, PG version is take it as a badge of honor. You know, if they're gonna be physical with you, it feels like they have to try to take you out of the game and channel that in a positive way. She did that tonight. You know, she channeled it. You know, never did she come over. I even saw her conversing with one of the officials, and it was very polite. And I was like, that's growth. You know, she wasn't, you know, mad because she was, you know, getting hit. And when they focus on you and they pinpoint you as the part they need to be physical with, and that's a badge of honor, and you got to take it and just work through it.
Coach, you said a couple weeks ago after the Oklahoma game that there's a lot of parity in this league. You'd be shocked if, you know, first, second, third, and, you know, have 5-6 losses, and now we're at the end and everyone's taking their lumps and you still have a tough schedule ahead. So, I mean, what about this league kind of has helped toughen your team, or how have you adjusted for league play, and you think that's going to help?
We just continue to get better, worry about ourselves. You know, obviously, we got some games left with ranked teams, but we're still a ranked team. I talked to Carolyn Peck, who did the game, and I said, Carol, I've only been in this league twice, but I can't imagine it being any tougher, you know, with the level of teams that are in it. And she said it reminded her of the late 80s, early 90s. Obviously, it wasn't as much parity, and most of the teams are in the SEC. And she said that's what it reminds her of. You know, I talked to Joni about it. She and I talked before the game. When Joni played in this league, coached in this league for Georgia and for Texas A&M, and she said it's as good as she's ever seen it. And so you can't get discouraged. If you get discouraged, one loss becomes 2, becomes 3, and then all of a sudden you're really in a hole. And even if you get to that point where you've lost 3 or you've lost 5 out of 6, there's a lot of basketball left to play. And you can look at this league, and you know the top 4 teams or top 5 teams in it. The next 5 might be the ones who make a nice run in the NCAA tournament, depending on what their seeding or what their matchups are. And we're just trying to get better, so we're ready for our moment. And I mean, and I'm proud of them because the emotion in the locker room, the attitude in the locker room, you wouldn't know. Now we don't like to lose, but you wouldn't know what kind of stretch we were in, because we know who we can be, and that's what we're really locked in and focused on.
We'll end it with Sierra unless there's anything pressing.
Obviously, haven't scouted Ole Miss, but what have you seen from Coach Yo and her team?
It's going to be the same thing that we've seen the last 3 or 4 games. You know, it's going to look like a basketball game sometimes, and sometimes it's going to look like a what we call it? Football game. You know, basketball combined with football, and that's the physicality. We just have to learn how to play through it. It's gonna be a great opportunity. It's gonna be our Play for K game. We need Big Blue Nation to come out. It's a very important game to us. It's a very important game to me. I had an opportunity today. You know, sometimes we get caught up in what's going on. You know, how many wins we've had, how many losses we had. And I got one of the most inspiring emails today from a woman. Her name is Monica, and she sent me an email, and it was on my desk this morning. And you know, the stresses of the game, and you're thinking about a lot of stuff. And the email talked about how I, with my wife's situation, inspired her. She listened to the press conference last year when we played Texas, and how it inspired her because she got diagnosed with cancer. She had to go through chemo, and she said her inspiration was that she was going to beat it, get through chemo, so that she could be at the game, the next Play for K game. And she said chemo brain, which is a thing. My wife had it where she forgot a lot of stuff. She said she bought her ticket for tonight, thinking that tonight was the game. And so I'm hoping that she's out there, she's listening somewhere. We would love for you to come back to Sunday's game, because that was the most inspirational email that I've ever gotten, because sometimes we get lost in our own little world and what's going on, how many wins, we gotta have this win, and then something like that puts life into perspective and fighting for your life, and we being an inspiration to her. She talked about the cats and the girls and how well they're playing and how much she loves watching them. And so I hope she had a great time tonight. Monica, if you're listening, we'd love to have you again on Sunday, because it is a very important game for us, not just because it's Ole Miss and who we're playing, or because of the standings, because it's going to bring awareness to this nasty disease that we're trying to beat. And it means so much to us. So she was inspiration to me. It was kind of funny. It's like I read it, and there was a calm that just came over me for the rest of the day. And able to go out and just perform and put our best foot forward, and let the chips lay where they fall. So very, very, very inspirational. And thank you, Monica. And hope to see all you guys out. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you.
Go
See you
Cats.
Sunday.